Okay. Hey everyone. My name is Rudlin, or Rudy, if you prefer. Um, Today I don't really have anything for you. It's 11:35 at night. All I'm gonna do is just stream me working on a game here. So yeah, that's really it. Um, so what I'm working on right now is a roguelike game, and yeah, I'll let this load up. Um, what I'm doing is, well, right now, what I'm trying to do is establish collision detection and entity classification. So, in normal terms and regular terms, English, yeah, there's also this issue. But my big things right now are just trying to assign every entity a value so that I can easily have those entities interact with each other. So let me show you what I got right now. Okay. So let me make sure that, oh, sorry, I was watching a video essay for this. Hey, Cosmo. Okay. So, what we're going to be doing here is, let me show you this first. So what we got here, is we got a bunch of numbers. Now this may look kind of messy right now, but trust me, it'll make sense in just a minute. So if you can see, I've got this little @ character guy, and what's happening right now is my keys, or sometimes he'll respond to my keystrokes. So like I'll hit down and sometimes he'll go down. But then other times he just won't. Like right now, it's just not going anywhere. You can see, you can hear I'm hitting keys. Up, down, left, right. He's not doing anything. But let me explain what else, or what is happening besides that. So here, dx and dy correspond to the x and y positions of this little ASCII character, guys, this little @ symbol. On the screen, as you can see, the screen is made up of a grid of numbers in this case. The numbers are just fill-ins, but it could be any character, any symbol. It could be blank for all intensive purposes. But right now, as you can see, we have this row of 2s here on top. And if I take away what there, yeah, this bit of code, let me just show you. You can see that what I'm doing is establishing collision detection between this little between this little number symbol and my guy here that I'm moving around. I only have it for the top row right now. I sort of hard-coded the wall to be right here. And then there are these other characters that I still have to code as walls. So I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, basically that's what I'm doing right now. And also probably going to delete some obsolete code here in a second. So first thing I want to do is get rid of these, because these print commands are from an older concept I had, or an older idea. So are these Boolean statements. I don't need those anymore. So I'll just get rid of that. That simplifies things some. So what's happening right now, okay, is I am attempting to assign every character, every distinct symbol in the screen, or on the screen, a value. So I'm trying to give like these little number symbols a value. I'm trying to give the @ symbol a value. Okay. And what that's going to do is allow these two things, in this case, to interact, such that the number symbols act as a wall and the @ symbol acts as like your player character. So yeah. And I'm also trying to fix, of course, this issue of character movement not corresponding to key presses. So, as I phrased it up here. So, this is just a little project I've started over spring break. Excuse me. I don't know if it'll go anywhere, but I've always sort of had an interest with programming, and I've actually programmed a roguelike over here. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of this. Um, so this is my other roguelike on these commands. So if let's actually load that real quick. Yeah. So this is a roguelike that's up on itch.io right now. The only bug that I've seen with it, the biggest bug that I've seen with it, is that occasionally these T's, these treasure symbols that you see, the gold T's, will spawn in an area of the map that is inaccessible to the player because of the way I generate the levels. All of these levels are randomly generated, by the way. That's a pretty big feature of most roguelikes. And this is very simple. This is a very simplistic roguelike here. Because we have the red M's, which represent monsters. We have the gold T's, which represent treasure. Your goal is to get as much treasure as possible, and then get to the green E, which will bring you down to the next level of the dungeon. You have no way of attacking the monsters. There's no magic system, no spell system, no weapon shops, nothing. No items outside of the treasure. And there are 10 levels to the dungeon, so if you get through all 10, you will be greeted with a message saying you got through the dungeon, and here's how much treasure you get. It's very simple for a roguelike, but it was a very good exercise in just getting the basic fundamentals down. So, yeah. That's it. And then you can press R to restart the level. Oh, this is another bug. If you restart the level enough times, it'll give you this recursion error. Yeah. Stack Overflow error, rather. So that's a thing. But, yeah. So let's go away from that, and we'll just focus. Right now, we'll just focus on this one. So I want this to kind of follow in the same steps as this, but I want to add more to it, right? And I don't really want to work on this anymore because I feel like it's good where it is. It's a good test of what I can do. I forget the name of the algorithm I used to generate the dungeons, but I'll have to find that again. Maybe I'll use a different algorithm. So I'm actually just going to keep chat. I doubt anyone's going to say much, but I'll keep chat there. And on top of that, I'll put this because I'll probably need to Google stuff. So yeah. So here we go. What do I want to do first? Well, first I want to... I guess I can get rid of, or not get rid of, but I can hide the whole number thing for now. So yeah. Oh, by the way, so you saw that the zeros were there. That just represents an open space in the map. 2 represents a wall, and theoretically a 1 would represent the @ character. But the way I have it rendering right now, you still see the player character as an @ symbol instead of a 1, which is fine. I like that. I'll probably add in a debug mode later that just shows you numbers, but this works for now, I think. So from here, oh, I should grab some water or something at some point, but from here, I'm just going to, let's see. I'm going to try and figure this out. So I have this. I should also mention, all I'm using to build this game is the default libraries that come with Java, as well as libjcsi, which I'll show you here, is the Java Console System Interface library. It's an external library. that basically allows you to build a console with text that is movable and can easily be accessed by keystrokes. You can see in this sample program, you get a pretty good idea of some of the basic functionalities of it. But it's not just a console. It can, like I said, and as I've demonstrated, it can also work for things like roguelikes. And the reason that I like this library, even though it's a decade old at this point, is because it's very simple, it's very minimal, and it allows you to do exactly as much as I personally need it to do, which is display text and provide user input, provide a way for the user to interact with the world. So yeah, that's about that. Let's see. You know, I'm going to move this a little bit. This is just debugging, but it makes my life a little bit easier just to have this information in relatively the same place on the screen. So dx and dy, there we go. Okay. So what I want to do first, I guess I'll figure out the movement thing later. I just want to establish a basic collision detection system, or a basic way for the game to be able to recognize when there is a wall somewhere and what value to assign that wall. So in this case, we will, I don't know, we'll figure something out. But right now, I have it hard coded to assign a certain, assign every, as you can see, every wall at this y value and this x value to be a wall. But I don't want that. I want this as well. So I'm sort of hard coding some of these values in, these x and y values. As you can see, for now, I mean later when I actually start, this is sort of just a prototype. So when I start generating dungeons using algorithms, I will, using an algorithm. A algorithm? Well, when I'm using algorithms, I'll just have this be wx, wy, and I'll streamline the process a little bit so it's not just everything is hard-coded. But for now, for our purposes, it'll be just fine to assign certain x or y values to be consistent within the level. I don't know, is any of this making sense? Because I find this sort of thing absolutely fascinating. I am terrible at graphic design. I'm terrible at modeling. Pixel art, I'm passable in the sense that like I can make basic sprites. I can even make a little bit of sprite movement, but I excel at the logic of programming and coding, or excel, quote unquote, as far as my skills in other game development related areas go. Okay, so now this should be good. Just how it is, yes. So now we have a solid wall, and we also have a solid system, a working prototype for collision detection. Sweet. See how easy that was, man? This is part of why I love working on roguelikes, is because, especially when it's, well, because there's a grid, and that's also why I love working with libjcsi, is because it provides you with this grid system right off the bat. Every character has a distinct coordinate on the grid, and you can very easily access and manipulate where things are based on that. So also something super useful that I did not know about until I started working on this is this command. I don't know what to call it exactly, but I want to call it an integer matrix. but I don't think that's what it is. But that's how I visualize it. Basically, it's just a thing that allows me to store, is a variable that allows me to store coordinates, um, or store integers as coordinates, and then assign those coordinates different properties. Assign whatever's at those coordinates different properties. So that's how I'm able to call, these walls 2, or that's why I'm able to create collision detection. Why later I'll be able to create collision detection not just with walls but with monsters or with items. And, excuse me. I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing here. Is whenever the player, let's see if I can find, like here, everywhere that there is a treasure symbol, that gold T, it's set to true. It's set as true. Except in this, I gave each entity its own distinct, well, in this case, a Boolean matrix. But I don't want to do that with this one. I want to just assign, I want to have a list of every single entity that is in a given level, and I want them all to have distinct values, and then be able to, and then have the game be able to work off of that instead of having separate lists for everything. I just want to streamline it so that there's one entity list and that everything in a given dungeon is assigned a value. So, with that in mind, I want to figure out why this is doing this. So, if you look here, right, we have a bunch of switch cases. In this case, we have an up arrow. So, okay. See, what's happening is keys are sticking. I theorize that it has something to do with this being cases and switch, like the very nature of this command or this function is somehow sticking the player character. Or sticking the keys. Basically, that didn't make sense. Like, I think commands are interfering with each other, like cases are interfering with each other, and so the system like freezes for a second, and you're not able to do anything. As you can see, I had a different method of going about this, but that method was much more complex and involved those Boolean statements that I deleted earlier. So yeah. Yeah, I really like libjcsi though. I kind of wonder, like in my research, it seems like other people use this library, but a lot of those are from like 2011, or they're from years ago. I'm not sure if there's anybody still using this library besides me, but frankly, I really like it. I think it's really convenient. Even if it hasn't been updated in a decade, it still works at the moment, so that's good enough for me. Okay. Also, I like to put my brackets. I guess these are these brackets. I like to put my brackets below the if statement. Some people like proper quote-unquote Java formatting according to Eclipse is to do something like that. But to me, that looks kind of weird. It doesn't really make sense unless you have an else statement going along with it. But I don't have else statements here, so going along with these if commands. So I'm just going to put the bracket that way. It doesn't matter either way. It means the same thing to the compiler. But there you go. Come on. See, like right now, I'm pressing the up button. It's not doing anything. It's frozen, man. It's stuck. Excuse me. I mean, what did I do here? See, because this is basically my best reference. This is code that I wrote, that I understand, for the most part. This was written a few years ago, actually, which it doesn't feel like a few years ago, but it was. It's true. Okay, that's all monster stuff. Has to do with the AI. Um, and I didn't label any of this, of course, because why would I bother being efficient about my work? Or not efficient, but descriptive about my work. This is the generation bit. It's for generating the level. If key dot is down arrow, did I? Whoa. Okay. There we go. No. I thought for a second that I had assigned WAS and D here because you can see these codes. Unless it's supposed to be key, it's supposed to be key.code, I think. Yeah. Let's experiment for a second with this other game. I know I said I didn't want to edit this one. Didn't really want to work anymore on this one, but I am curious. Did I programmed WASD functionality into this game. That's pretty cool. Most roguelikes don't do that for one reason or another. Usually there's so many key bindings to some of the more complicated and ambitious ones that you can't use WASD because WASD all have different functions within the context of the game besides just moving the character. Like, you have to understand, with roguelikes, okay, controls go beyond, left mouse click, right mouse click, WASD, or spacebar, or I for inventory. They have all that. Some of them have the spacebar for jumping, but most of them don't, because most of them look kind of like this. They're grid-based, and they're either ASCII characters or tile sets. But anyway, my point is that, roguelikes usually have so many key bindings. They have to get kind of creative about their control schemes. Okay. So key dot is right arrow. I think that might be the way to go here. Instead of the cases. I might have even run into this problem before. So key dot primitive type key. What? Okay, fine. The code's gonna get a little wonky here for a second. But actually, no, wait. I don't even need to do that. I can just key dot. It's weird. What if I get rid of that and just put, yeah, okay, key dot. No. That's not working. What did I do here? Car key. Oh, see, this is an integer, but I want to make it a char key. Okay, so we're gonna have to go like that, and then okay. Oh, like I said, code's gonna look a little wonky here for a second. Just stick with me. Okay, check it. So then we're gonna move this all, refactor, move. What am I looking for? Is it not here? Oh, it's in source. Okay, move left and shift left again. There. So that in mind, let's figure this out. So key dot is up arrow, and that condition, that's good. Oh, is there? Okay. Okay, there should be no breaks. Yeah, that's another thing. See, switch cases are just so weird, man, honestly. So bizarre. I really don't like them. Frankly, not for most things. I mean, they have their uses, but for what I'm trying to do, I don't need them. I like just having if statements. Even if those if statements end up creating long commands like these. Honestly, I can't remember exactly what this was meant to do. So grid, okay. So get z to get y minus 1. Okay. So this whole thing probably could have just been simplified if I put it monster. Yeah. Endless. Yeah, it's a whole mess, guys. Honestly, this whole bit is a mess, and I'd like for that to not happen again. But we'll see. It's fun to show people, though. At least I'd imagine it'd be if I did show anybody. Just because, hey, look at this super complicated code I wrote. It's really not that. I mean, when you break it down, it really is not that complicated. I'm basically just taking values from different places and putting them in if statements. It's the same principle as something like this, just extended out and automated because it's AI. It's artificial intelligence, I guess. If key dot equals, is that a thing? If key dot code equals, I have to look up alphanumeric or ASCII codes, ASCII character codes. ASCII table. Okay, so Q is 81 and 71. So if this equals 81, or key dot wait, is there a dot equals? There is. Okay, so I don't even need to bother with alphanumeric codes. It's like the first command. How did I miss that? Okay. Key.q. Then exit equals true. And refresh after that. Check it out. Okay, so that's not working. Okay. No. Don't do this. No, come on, man. Why? Why can't I get this? It must have something to do with these. If I just get rid of those, does that become... See, this is what coding, for me at least, is like most of the time. It's just tinkering with pre-existing code, looking back on previous works, and just iterating. I think that's how it is for a lot of coders, but what do I know? Okay, so that's not a problem. So it is... See, I suspected that earlier. there. Cool. Okay. So, sorry, stretching. So is there some way, so let me just slowly work this out here. Yeah, get that, get rid of that. So, okay. Oh shit, yeah, sorry, out of bounds exception. So that's good, that makes sense to me. This is working as intended. Okay, now it's sticking. Huh. An entity dx dy. Huh. What if I phrase it, instead of putting equals 0, what if I just phrase it as does not equal 2? Meaning there's no wall there. Because that's what I'm trying to program here. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That as long as that isn't 2, that's better. I think that's better. That way, it explicitly states. See, that's the thing, is computers don't, I mean, get this, computers don't know your intention, right? And that may sound simple, but sometimes, especially if your brain works the way mine does, it can be difficult to remember that at times, and it can be difficult to really think outside of your own context. You know, like, you have an intention, you know what the machine's got to do, but you don't know, but you're phrasing it in a different way. And it's not like a person where it can just, you know, oh, okay, get the, it can't just get the idea. You know, you have to explicitly tell the machine everything. You have to tell it exactly what to do at every given circumstance. Unless you're doing random generation. But even then, you need to explicitly program in such a way that the machine will generate the way you want it to. Okay, that's collision detection. That makes sense to me. See, because then, even down the line, if I program 1,000 more entities, as long as those entities don't have a corresponding value of 2, it doesn't matter. Okay, see, that's why you don't hard code these things. How many viewers do we got? Just the 2. Okay, that's cool. So, I'm sorry, I'll stop checking that so much, but what I'm wondering now, what about, what about this key dot equals business, right? Key dot, no, I don't want dot dot, just key dot. Key. What if I just go with ASCII codes like I was planning on originally? So key dot equals 71, say. Okay. Cool. That's weird. Let's look into the documentation. All right. See, that's another thing, is they still have the Java doc up. I should probably favorite this, honestly, just in case. I might call this libjcs. Ah, nope. Libjcsi. dock. Good. Okay, so let's go there. Let's go that way. Now, I want to know is, there we go. Is this what I'm thinking of? Constructor. No, I don't want a constructor. I don't want the individual characters. CSI.InKey. That may be it. I may be looking in the wrong place. Hey, Cosmo Zombie, you still there? He cried into the void. Here we go. InKey. Waits until the key is pressed and returns it. That's nice. It's not really what I'm looking for. Two string. Yeah. See, that's the only downside to this library, is that this is basically all the documentation you get. Like, there are very few tutorials that really get into the nitty gritty. Or get beyond the very, very basics. Certainly not the stuff that I'm trying to accomplish with this, which is admittedly already pretty simple in and of itself, but regardless, I will gladly take this over having a huge library of things that I don't care for or don't really need, that I have to wade through just to get the one thing I want. See, that's the thing, man, is some of these libraries, they're so diverse and they're so useful. There's so many ways you can go about using some of the Java libraries out there, some of the external ones, but they feel kind of just so bloated. Like, there's just so much there. And that's a good thing. It can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. Oh, is there a utility class to make using coordinates easier? Huh. I did not know about that. I don't really need it, though, because I kind of already got a system worked out for that. That works just fine for me. Let me make sure I should probably make sure my audio is fine for me. Okay. Cool, we're on. Check that. I checked my audio. Where are we? Yeah, about 40 minutes into the stream. Yeah, nice. Keep it classy, San Diego. I could just do a little experimentation here. A little trial and error. If key dot equals, if I just put 71, right, is that valid? Is there an example in here I could use? If key.code equals 7. So, okay. But 70 doesn't... Okay. So maybe these don't correspond. These don't correspond. It's not using ASCII code. It must be ASCII character codes. It's using its own code system. Fair enough. Fair enough. So. Oh. Oh, this is useful. Constant field values. Yes, this is very useful. Alright, so if I want Q, 80 and 106. Okay. So if I want a lowercase q, I'm going to say 80. If I want a capital Q, I'll say 106. So that's space, and then that does the same thing. Exit equals true. System.exit. Tell you what, don't even wait. Just go for it. I don't. There you go. Yeah, I don't need it to wait. There we go. Okay. So now, next challenge that I'd like to tackle is menu systems. Okay? So I have a couple ideas for this. My first one, my initial one, is to make another integer matrix. That's what I'm calling these now, I guess, for menus. New int. Well, except I don't even need to make it an integer matrix, do I? I can just make menu equals 0. So we'll start at 0, meaning there is no menu up right now. However, okay, if we so this, and then and menu equals 0. I want to test this. I want to see if I can format an if statement that way. Have it work. No. Okay. Guys, I think I got somewhere here. So if menu equals 0, okay, so I want to do else if menu, okay, this is very simple, equals 1, then menu will equal 0. So basically what I'm saying is you can press Q to quit the game, right? But then if you're on the main dungeon screen here, you can press Q and quit the game. But if you want to quit just the menu, you'll be able to press the same button and it'll just quit the menu. I don't know if that'll work. Or I don't know, in the sense of I don't know if that's a good system, but I'm going to run with it for a second here and just see what happens. So we have that. Okay, so this is, do I want it before characters are, I want it after characters are pressed. So this will be if key.code equals, what do I want the menu button to be? M. I want it to be a lowercase m. 76, I'll make it an uppercase m as well. 76 and 102 equals 76, or key.code equals 102. Then I'll say, oh, I'll make sure that this is Q and Q. This is M and M, because you can't tell based off just the codes. Yeah, I don't have these memorized, you know. So that's why I got the table. But anyways, We'll go. Sorry, eating some trumpets. We'll say. Right. Actually, you know what? This could work. So here's what we're going to do. Our whole core conceit here is if there is no menu currently up, then this is all true, right? This all is valid. However, else if, okay, this is also going to be true. It's also going to be here. I'll work on menu logic in just a second. Else if this is going to be tricky. That could work. It can work. Else if menu equals 1, then we'll say for, I'm going to just copy and paste some code here. Give me a sec again. It's going to look messy. It's going to give me an error. That's okay. I'm just going to give that. We'll call it CSI, yeah, color dot corn. We'll make it corn colored, guys. Make our menus corn colored. Cause why not? Oh, and then car key, character key, that's gonna be at the very beginning here. There we go. And then if or maybe this should go, no, because there's a while statement here, so that'll happen that way. And then one. Actually, will this, how will this work? Like what result will this produce? If I just do this way. Okay. Not what I was expecting. Doesn't even show the guy. Okay. Menu equals 0. Menu equals 0. That's how it starts. Why? Oh, I should probably change the name of this as well, just while I'm at it. I've been calling this Roguelime, so I guess I'll just keep going with Roguelime. I've got no real reasoning behind the name, but it amuses me, so that's about it. Huh. This is really weird, guys. I'm gonna be frank. Very weird. Is it because I have this as a buffer? What if I got rid of that? What would that do here? Okay. Okay. That's not happy. That's not very happy at all. So there's that, right? Why is that not working? Well, this isn't going to be a constant, right? So should I just put this in the for loop? I feel like that's the way to go here. I mean, I can give it a shot at least. It's worth trying. So now there's nothing. It's because we're saving the buffer as nothing, isn't it? So I can save that as a buffer, but then what if I want to update it? How do I update? Oh god, what did I just save? I just have to csi.save buffer, I guess, and then that would be the new one, wouldn't it? Shit. This is a conundrum, guys. Frankly, I think my brain is a bit too addled by sleep at this point to really solve this problem. So I'm gonna sleep on it. Maybe I'll come up with a solution before next live stream. I don't know if I'll even live stream any more of this, but I just felt like working on this and figured you guys might enjoy it. And it's motivating when you are live streaming to do stuff and to be active. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And that's about it. Bye.